r/ask Reddit. When was the moment you realized you didn't really fit in with your friend group anymore? When I quit drugs. My problem was not starting drugs, or at least, not the right ones. No, chuck, meth and crushed oxys are not in the same league as weed, not even remotely. Spent all day trying to get any of them to go see a movie with me that evening. Called people, texted people, no one was available. I decided screw it, I'll go alone and went early to get a ticket and caught a good number of the people I invited coming out of the movie together. They dodged me. I sat in my car and wept until the movie started, then wept the whole way home. This one hurts. What shitty people. I'm so sorry you had to experience that. Have you found new better friends? I mean, they may be dongheads or they might have a good reason for it. Kinda hard to tell from how little we know. Regardless, a tough pill to swallow. When they tend to leave you out when they are going out or talking and chatting. Walking down a pavement and somehow you always end up being the one standing behind because you can't fit all in a row. I was always the shy, quiet type and people always just kinda found me and made me a friend because I didn't approach them myself. I went through multiple friend groups in my lifetime, and when we were walking somewhere I didn't really say anything and sometimes walked slower, so I was always the one going behind them and sometimes even losing them. After years of this I found my current friend group. The little things I noticed is when they asked my opinion about something when I didn't answer, like where should we eat. One time we were going down a sidewalk and as expected I voluntarily got behind. We went on for maybe half a minute when they turned around and asked if I'm okay. I said yeah, I'm just used to be here, you know, watching over everyone, making sure everyone is here and safe. Plus we would be a tight fit if I would walk with you. They smiled and said you are fitting in just right while they were putting their arms around me. I think that was the first time I felt I'm really a part of a friend group. It was amazing. Over the summer I realized I didn't have any contact information for a single one of them, and they didn't have mine. Then when school started again they would talk about hanging out outside of school all the time, and I realized I was just a school friend and they didn't really care to hang out with me. I've had that happen as an adult in the working world. It's frustrating. Yeah, I have to. It really just sucks. I only mentioned this one because I had thought we were friends for 3 full years at that point. I'm now 10 plus years out of high school with enough clarity to realize that being a school friend is okay. But at the time it hurt so bad to realize. I just stopped talking to them one day and none of them tried to talk to me, so I just left it. The inside jokes that I don't get, lol. As someone who struggles with my self-esteem and fitting in and seeming cool, this one hits close to home. My friends will have one inside joke I don't get, and for the rest of the day I think they all hate me and don't want to be my friend. You might want to look into rejection sensitive dysphoria. I have it along with my ADHD and I get that same experience too sometimes. I definitely have heard of rejection sensitive dysphoria. I almost wrote it here, but because I'm not officially diagnosed and don't have ADHD, just social anxiety, I didn't want to use it. When I was drunk at a party, and 911 needed to be called for a former friend that I frankly hated, everyone disappeared when the ambulance and police were heading over. I was stuck drunkenly telling her mom over the phone that her daughter had a severe panic attack and possible alcohol poisoning, and that I was sitting with her while waiting for emergency responders. Her mom kept saying I must be her one genuine friend, and I hated that girl for being a petty backstabber. Even if I hate someone, I wouldn't leave them drunk and alone in the middle of a panic attack. I cut those friends off after that. It had been a long time coming. The rest of my time at college was very lonely. How did the girl react afterwards? Probably mad that she blabbed to mom. Literally all they did for fun anymore was get trashed and party. That was not a life I wanted. And when you don't drink but still try and go out with them because they're your friends, you realize how they only talk about being wasted. Yup, I couldn't even hang out with them during the day cause all the discussions were about the next time, and if I tried to change the subject it always ended up back there. When they started getting married one by one and having kids, after that, everything they did revolved around couples activities or kids activities. Those of us left in the group who are single were sort of shut out. For me it was the opposite. I was the only one married with a kid. They couldn't understand why I couldn't go out with them on zero notice. Also, I had to drive 40 minutes downtown while 7 months pregnant to a bar for my friend's birthday. I really tried, but it sucked having to cancel on them all the time. Yep, marriage and kid is what drifted us away from our core group too. Everyone else is childless. Most are single. Some folks you never even see again after the wedding. There is an upside though. It's not painful. You just sort of grow apart. You stay in touch a bit here and there. Nobody is angry. It's just how things are. You still have your core friends though, even if you rarely see them. When you see them again, you can pick right up where you left off as if no time has passed. There's something to be said for friendship like that. And at the end of the day, this is what really matters. The second they began demanding nice little extra things I'd do for the friendship. The second it became expected rather than appreciated was when I was done with it. Man. They started expecting me to pay for snacks at the store when I covered for them once. I had a friend like that. She got pissed at me because my husband said something snarky to her and I wouldn't take her side. Because I said they were both adults and could settle it on their own. She started talking to me again a few months later. But then she just ghosted me again because right after we had just started talking again, she wanted me to come and help her move into her new apartment, and I told her I couldn't because I had other stuff that I had to do. It wasn't just me though. Someone else invited her to her party and she got pissed and stopped talking to them because they wouldn't drop everything in the middle of their party and go back to her apartment with her to help her put together IKEA furniture. When I quit putting in the effort to make the plans, I realized I was a third wheel in the group that wasn't invited unless I did the actual work. I was basically ghosted. That's the worst. It's the realization that if you got hit by a car today and ended up in the hospital and needing help, they wouldn't be there. That if something happened and you needed to take care of yourself, they won't be there. I found myself homeless and they all disappeared. Came back around again when I got an apartment, but I just didn't want to rekindle the friendships. Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry, but good for you for recognizing that they weren't worth your time. Real friends stick with you through everything, especially the bad stuff. So if they abandon you when you're struggling the most, not only are they shitty people who lack compassion, but they are not your friends. You deserve so much better, and I really hope things are going better for you now. When it went from smoking a little weed, drinking a few beers, and taking the occasional dose, to opiate abuse and full-blown alcoholism. In other words, when it went from just having some fun to serious addictions, it was time to go. For the record, most of them are dead now. Despite my username, I'd prefer they still be alive. I've honestly never felt like I fit into a friend group ever. I have friends who I love one-on-one, but find that when a core group of 5+ starts, there's always drama or weird expectations. With my high school friend group, it was the first year we started college. They all went to the same one and I didn't. I made new friends and my high school friends were annoyed that I didn't hang out with them all weekend. Every weekend. Then with my college friends, we just drifted apart after we graduated, which is fairly normal. Everyone I worked in retail with grew really close, until everyone paired up except for me. Suddenly I was hanging out with 6 couples instead of 12 people. Plus I quit. I usually still chat with the person I was closest to in the group, but don't really keep in touch with the group as a whole. Similar experience, except I went to a different high school than all my friends. I didn't really make new friends though. They slowly stopped inviting me to things. Eventually I realized I didn't really like hanging out with them anyways. University was great and possibly the only time in my life I felt like I had a group of friends. But then we all graduated and 90% of them moved away. I'm really bad at making friends. Mostly because managing any relationship other than a romantic one makes me quite anxious. I hate it. In college I went through a transition. I had all these old friends from high school that were comforting, but had slowly lost everything we had once had in common. I had made new friends with the people my then boyfriend hung out with and we all seemed to jive better. But being 20, I still had fantasies that my old friends and my new friends would combine into some big happy friend group. For my 21st I invited my boyfriend's friends and my old friends to join me at a bar together. One of my old friends bailed. One came but complained about the place, the food, the music, and the men. until she found one she liked and left with him. And my best friend from high school came, absolutely strung out, cried when no one wanted to go smoke with her, got jealous when people bought me shots, and got picked up by some other loser we went to school with and said I was a square for not joining to go take pills with her. The 3 new friends were flabbergasted. They asked if we could start the night over. I remember distinctly that all of this had happened and it was not quite 10 PM. That was the moment I realized that my old friends weren't really friends at all but more people I had been in proximity to for a while. I agreed to roll a do-over for the night and we ended up having a great time. They were bridesmaids at my wedding. They are the godparents to my children. I genuinely don't have any friends that didn't meet my husband first, and I would never have it any other way. They're all lovely. I definitely know the feeling of mixing old and new communities and how disastrous that can be. It's like taking a step backwards in your own life journey, and with the old friends it also starts to get to a point when you're around them that it feels more like a sense of guilt for trying to hold the relationship together than a sense of excitement for building toward the future. Complete and total lack of ambition. It was infectious. That was a big part of what happened with the friend group that I used to hang out with. Zero ambition and zero plan to do anything with their lives. One person other than me in that friend group finished a college degree, and even though she didn't finish her graduate school courses, she has a really good job in the field that she dreamed about getting into in high school. I don't really talk to her anymore because we went in different directions career-wise. But the other people that I used to be friends with in high school and early college are mostly still working at minimum wage jobs, living with their parents and not really maintaining even friend-level relationships with anyone. As far as I can tell, none of them want to do anything really. One in particular still lives with their mother and doesn't work and has only ever had one job that they didn't keep for very long. No idea what the plan is for if something happens to their mother, since she is the one who provides a roof over their head and pays the bills and whatnot. When I spent a semester in and out of a hospital for surgeries and stuck back at home, and exactly one person contacted to ask if I was okay, twice, in 6 months. They sent flowers and called every day to another girl who had a head cold for a week. This. Found out during lockdown people were only going to ask if I was okay if I asked them first. I was standing in line to get into a bar with friends. The friend in front of me, Jason, was bumped and backed up and stepped on my new shoe. I gently placed my hand on his back, more to keep him from falling, and said, "Whoa bud, my shoe." Dude turns around and sucker rushes me. Without knowing what's going on, I am laying on the ground with him standing over me. I wasn't really in danger. I protected my head when I fell and was in a position to roll him into traffic if he tried to swing down on me. After a few moments of me asking him confused why we are playing on the sidewalk, nothing happens. He lets go when the bouncers get to noticing and he walks away. Everyone is dumbfounded at what happened. Problem is, not one person asked if I was okay. No one left to get a drink with me. No one was overly concerned about this unprovoked attack except to see if Jason was alright. Okay, whatever. I leave, and as I am walking home I call who I thought was my best friend at the time to hash out what just happened. No answer. Then like 5 minutes later I get a call from Jason shit talking and referencing the voicemail I had just left my best friend. She let him and the group listen to it and ridicule me. The most hurtful part was this line. I still remember vividly to this day. "Turd monkey 2. No one wants you here. No one invites you. You're just there." It hurt because it confirmed something it always felt. See, I only met this friend group through my true brother of a best friend. They all loved him and he wouldn't chill without me, so they just tolerated me to hang out with him. Well, after he died it just always felt like they were pity friends. I pushed that feeling down, but that line totally confirmed it. I'm just one of the out of focus background guys to the group. Never got a follow-up call from any friend. Never got any reasons why the attack. Just sat at home stone sober and realized this was a blessing. I cut out every single friend I had from that group, including my a-hole bestie, Duck You Joes. When they started making plans without me, hanging out with other friends, it seems as if they climbed the social ladder and I fell down it. Those aren't friends, mate. Friends take you with them up the social ladder. A-holes trade their company for company that will benefit them more. If I had met this person today, would I want to be their friend? The answer was no. Damn. I really felt this one. When I brought my stereotypically handsome boyfriend into the shop for them to meet and they all treated him like herpes. He wasn't on the rainbow spectrum, was mentally sound, and he looked like he walked off a runway, so of course they hated him. I thought these people were cool because they accepted my awkward bisexual self and all my anxiety, but as soon as they met him, it was like pulling teeth to get them to acknowledge him. And my best friend, who was very gay BTW whisper shouted it looks gay, presumably because she assumed he'd be insulted. None of them ever used gay as an insult before. It was just for him. She also said, I'll be here to pick up the pieces when this crashes, and burns right in front of him. She talked a lot about people who bullied her in school. Apparently his sister was one of them, but she'd never met this dude before. She was the worst, but everyone in there who I considered a friend was openly hostile, and the only reason I could gather was because he was normal. I thought they were a safe place, but apparently only if you meet their standards. Sadly, so many people are like this, not just people on the LGBT spectrum. As a religious person, I have to admit there are a lot of religious people like this as well. When I was the first one to enter the lunchroom and nobody joined me at the table I chose. That's the most painful feeling ever. Before I met my best friend, there wasn't a single lunch table that ever made me feel welcome. I once joined a club that met up during lunch for the sole purpose of not having to endure this kind of exclusion. When I deleted social media to better my health, they stopped talking to me cause it's too much work to use the iMessage app. Currently in a similar boat, I killed Facebook and haven't felt compelled to come back. We all took different career paths. I still wanted to hang out, but there was a vibe that I couldn't shake that they didn't want to hang with me anymore. So the one a month things became once every few months, and now down to texting on birthdays, that sort of thing. Miss you guys still. This one hits close to home. After I made my birthday private on Facebook, I don't even get the birthday wishes anymore. When toxicity is too strong, when you feel alone despite being with them, when you feel that they don't listen and you won't like to listen to them, or when you start having thoughts about you not caring about them anymore. I ended a long relationship with a very toxic group that I got for plenty of years, and now I am in a new group and finally feel happy again. We kept inviting everyone over for a fun evening and everybody just sat there after dinner was done like, well, entertain us. One day my spirit went dry and we just watched Slav memes and everyone left quite quick. They never invited me and my girl over, so we laid low and waited for them to make a move. Been 3 years now. Sounds like you would rather watch memes with your girl than have a dinner party, and that's totally okay. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.